Now, he's born to a devout Congregationalist minister in 1788. It's about 20 years after the Declaration of Independence, the War of Revolution. America becomes its own independent nation. 20 years later, Judson is born. Now, if you think, well, 20 years is like a really long time, there would have been really no feeling from that. Just kind of think about that in the context of maybe 9/11. Like, 9/11 was a little over 20 years ago, but it's still a factor in the way people think about the world and terrorism and different wars that have been fought since. And the way we think about kind of geopolitical, conflict, we think about 9/11. That would have been like Judson being born in 1788. He lived until 1850. Very early on, showed signs of being a prodigy in several aspects. A real prodigious character, not like we talk about, some young kids are gifted and they just kind of get things and they're very studious. Judson was a prodigy. So at a very early age, in fact, when he was 3, he learned to read in a space of 2 weeks. Just picked it up, was able to read. His father went on a trip for 2 weeks. His father came back and his 3-year-old son wanted to show him that he could now read. More than that, Judson proved himself a bit of a linguist. So he picked up classical languages, Latin and Greek and Hebrew, very, very easily. Not only that, he could solve problems. There was this story of the newspaper in Judson's home. He was just a tiny little boy, and this newspaper would come in each week, and in the newspaper had this really convoluted, kind of really involved riddle that people had to try and solve, and sometimes there was a prize if you could work it out. And the riddle was put together by the most brilliant minds in the country at the time. And Judson got the newspaper, solved the riddle, tried to send in the answer, and his dad got the letter because a 7, 8-year-old shouldn't be posting mail. And his dad was very, very impressed, not only because Judson had the pluck to do this, but because he was dead on. The answer that he'd actually offered was spot on. There's one particular story when his father realizes that his son is a bit of a prodigy, 7, 8 years of age. He solved this riddle. His father never sends the riddle in, which is a little bit of a shame, but his father goes and buys him a book of kind of mind benders, like mind twisters, riddles for his son to work on. And every time he buys his son material, his son just consumes it and just does it. Like it's an afternoon for him. It's very, very simple. And so Judson recalls this one night, his dad sitting by the fire, smoking his pipe, and he's looking into the fire. Mother is cleaning the table, and little Mary, his little sister, is cooing sweetly in her cradle. His father lights the pipe, and he says to his son, "I hear they call you Virgil at school now." And Judson says, "Yes, father. They say I do the lessons too fast." That's like the worst guy to have in your class, right? Like that's the guy that's moving that bell curve in the opposite direction for the rest of us mere mortals. He's a prodigy. In his teen years, he falls dangerously ill and loses a whole year of schooling. But this is Judson, and so when he finally goes back to schooling, he's caught up in a matter of days. When he finally applies to college, they just allow him to enter as a second-year student. He's just too advanced, and he's well beyond the normal idea of what a person at his age should be.